Welcome to the top 10 best video games of all time. Today's a very special video. I've asked a few of my online friends who are also content creators to tag along. The topic of the video was, what is your favorite video game series of all time and why? So without further ado, let's dive into it.
Hey guys, Upper Nimbus here. Now, I could talk about the Legend of Zelda series for basically an eternity. This is the one franchise which I grew up with and still love to this day. I swear that the gameplay in the Legend of Zelda series is so fun and so addictive. This is the one franchise that I can come back to again and again and just play over and over. Now, I will admit that I do prefer the 3D Legend of Zelda games. I love that 3D exploration. They're the games I mainly grew up with ever since the Nintendo 64, and I'll tell you what, I honestly always still have the hardest time deciding between is it Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time as my favorite Zelda of all time. And I even struggle putting together like a top 5 list for Zelda games. That's how much I love this series and how much I love most of the games within the Zelda franchise. And I love how many dungeons there are in Ocarina of Time. There's like 8 or 9 dungeons across both the child and adult eras. And having dungeons in the Zelda games is like one of the biggest selling points to me. I love the puzzle and exploration elements to dungeons, and I'm also someone who loves like fantasy elements in games. I love it within like medieval settings when you have like fire, ice, lightning, water, wind, earth, shadow. I'm just a big sucker for those like fantasy elements that are within those types of games. And in regards to favorite dungeon designs and dungeon types, there are so many different awesome dungeons with like epic bosses and awesome music. And I would definitely say that from Majora's Mask especially, I will admit that Stone Tower Temple is one of the most badass dungeons of all time. I just love the whole mirror aspect of flipping the temple upside down and then re-exploring the whole dungeon again, but from a new perspective. So I guess to summarize my love for the Zelda series, it's the fact that it's been there from childhood. I love the puzzle and dungeon designs. I love the elements. I love the characters. Like Zelda has some of the most funniest and craziest, zaniest characters that you can come across within video games. And also some of the side quests, especially in Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask has probably my favorite side quest in all of Zelda. So Ghostlink, thank you so much for having me in your collaboration. I had a lot of fun talking about the Legend of Zelda series, and of course I look forward to everybody else's choice within this video. So until the next time everybody, Upper Nimbus is signing off.
Hey everybody, it's FemTRer, and thank you to Ghostlink for having me on today to talk about my favorite series of all time, which was really hard to decide on because I have so many series that I could have chosen. But if you guessed it, I chose Dragon Quest. Now, the reason I chose Dragon Quest is because I like every mainline game that I've played. There's only a couple that I still haven't played, so fair enough. But honestly, there's so many, and from all the ones that I've played, they're all a joy to play. Even the ones that aren't my favorites are still like really, really good. It's the perfect kind of series for me. It's a JRPG where you go on a big adventure across the world, sometimes several worlds. And it's just, that's my thing. I like going on big adventures to different towns across a big world map. That's literally what Dragon Quest is. The battle system is incredibly simple. It's not too hard. I really don't like complicated battle systems. I really like when you have like 4 options to choose from and it's super simple. You know, you upgrade your weapons, you get some money, you grind a little. Nothing crazy here. The story is really simple to understand. Half the time it's just saving the world or saving a princess. It's really basic, but I really like that. It's really magical, it's really comforting, and it's perfection. I have other series that I could have chosen. Final Fantasy, Pokemon, Yakuza, there's so many, but you know, within those series, I just feel like maybe there's a couple I didn't like or blah blah blah, but not with Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest, I like them all. It's the perfect series, it's great for getting into JRPGs, it's great if you're a veteran. So I highly recommend you get into the series, and the best part is that Dragon Quest 1 and Dragon Quest 11 haven't really changed. Like, you can play any of them and it's not like you're going to notice a lot. Other than graphics, it's the same thing. Some people might think that's a bad thing, some people might think that's a good thing. I think it's a great thing because it's a series you can always go to and know what to expect. So that's my favorite series, everybody. I hope you come check out my channel, and thank you again to Ghostlink for having me on.
Hello! So it is me, Sam, from the channel Switchboard. Thank you, Ghostlink, for inviting me to this channel to talk about the question, what is my favourite game series of all time? So I am going to talk today about this amazing series that appeared on this awesome little handheld here, which is the Game Boy Color. And this game series I'm going to talk about is Pokemon Red, Yellow and Blue. I do have Blue somewhere. I don't know where it is gone. I'll have to find it out. But I did manage to find these two. Pokemon Red and Yellow, awesome games. Legit some of the best games I've ever played. I remember playing these as a child. I have this memory of playing these games on my mum's dining table when I was younger. I got Pokemon Blue from like my 8th or 7th birthday or something like that, and yeah, I've been playing Pokemon ever since. I just genuinely love this series. I could probably name every single Pokemon in these games. I'm not going to do that right now because obviously I don't have the time. If you do want to see me do something like that, check out my channel because I talk about Nintendo all the time and I love Nintendo for exactly that reason. My memories of Nintendo games, just, it's unreal how much it shaped me as a person, and I think Pokemon is the series that probably has shaped me the most because of the idea of like Japanese culture and finding and collecting things. You know, I'm a massive game collector, and yeah, this is kind of one of the reasons why I just love Pokemon, because it's a collectathon. These games are so good. Some of the greatest games in history, in my opinion. If you was a kid in the 90s, you would completely understand because these games were incredible for their time. And yeah, obviously we know now how big the franchise is. Anyway, thank you, Ghostlink, for letting me be on this channel. I really appreciate that you invited me, so thank you very much. If you haven't already, do subscribe to Ghostlink because he is an awesome creator. And also check out the other creators on this channel as well who are in this video. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. Bye!
What's going on, guys? It's your boy RadBash. Special shout out to Ghostlink for having me on this epic collab. We're supposed to talk about our favorite game or series of all time. Now, while normally I would go Kingdom Hearts, I felt for this one I wanted to talk about my all-time favorite horror series because I love horror games, and that's Resident Evil. Let's talk about it. Resident Evil. So anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge survival horror fan. Love horror games. It's practically all I play anymore. I mean, you can look at my face and just know that guy likes horror. But yeah, I have been a big Resident Evil fan since 4. Now that may shock some people as that was the first one I played. It wasn't 1 or anything else. So, you know, call me a poser or whatever. But 4 is what got me into it. And then I worked my way backwards and then forwards. My second favorite being 8. I absolutely love Resident Evil 8. And yes, I know it is very similar to 4, but that's why I love it. But the Resident Evil series it brings so much to the table. The games are a wide range, so while some are zombie, you know, you're trapped in a mansion fighting, the next you're in a village fighting like werewolf monsters and things like that. Like, it's so crazy. A cannibal family, like it's so wild the way it goes. It's always all over the place. The stories are, for the most part, very well written. Ignore 6 and 5. That's around the time Resident Evil starts to take a dip, in my opinion. I still enjoy 5 and 6 for what they are, but if you're not playing with anybody, they kind of aren't worth your time. But any of the other games, I mean, they're really good. They're so good, they're remaking all these games. We got Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4 remake. I believe Code Veronica's on the way. We're probably going to get a Resident Evil 1 remake at some point, I'm sure. It's so iconic. It got movies. There are movies made after this game series. Like, everybody knows Resident Evil at this point, and I love it with, like, all that I am. It helps start my love for survival horror. I cannot speak highly enough about Resident Evil. If you guys have played Resident Evil, let us know down below. There you have it. Have you played any of the Resident Evil games? Have you enjoyed any of them? Do you hate it? Do you love it? Let us know down below. Special shout out again to Ghostlink for having me on, brother. I really appreciate it. Like always, guys, stay radical.
What's going on, everyone? It's the MadBellmont of the Super Retro Force here. Thank you so much to my boy Ghostlink for having me on for this video. I greatly appreciate you, man. So, what video game franchise could I possibly be talking about as my favorite video game series in this video? Gee, I think it might have something to do with it's Castlevania, for sure. So what is it about Castlevania that makes it my favorite game series in the world? And there's actually a few different answers to that question. The first one is, it is the game series that I can consistently, no matter what the game is, go back to play it and have fun with it. I cannot say that for too many other franchises out there. So that factor is one. Another factor is the fact that I do love me some horror. Not as much as my buddy Rad on the Super Retro Force, but I do like me some horror. And this series, Castlevania, it has one of my favorite settings in horror, which is gothic horror. It perfectly captures the look and feel of the Universal Monster movies, which I absolutely love. I love those films. So the fact that I get to play in that setting in a bunch of games, really cool to me. So there's that. And then also, it's just the fact that I absolutely love the characters, I love the music, I love everything about this franchise. And it resonated with me when I first played it when I was 4 years old. I've told the story a bunch of times, rented the first game and a couple other games in the franchise. And when I played that first game, I was hooked from minute one. And so ever since then, I have been hooked, and my love for the franchise has just grown stronger and stronger and stronger ever since then, to the point to where it is right now. And I just absolutely love this franchise. I cannot think of any other franchise that I love more than this. So it has to be Castlevania that I talk about here. And again, thank you so much to my boy Ghostlink for having me on for this collab. I cannot thank you enough for that, man. And I will see you later, my fellow Belmonts.
Yo, YouTube, what is good, bruv, going, what is good, and we are back with another collaboration video. Big shout out to my man Ghost for reaching out to have me take part in this awesome idea for a collaboration video. So without further ado, let's get straight into my favourite video game series of all time. Now, when Ghost hit me up with the idea about my favourite video game series of all time, honestly, I was pretty torn between a few series, but I think the one series that's always stuck with me since my first time playing it, my choice had to be none other than the Suikoden series. Now, sadly I didn't grow up with the Suikoden series of games, as the first game in the series was released a year before I was born in 1995. So my first real encounter would come years later, where I'd heard so many great things in videos about how amazing the series was. From what I'd gathered at the time, you could start with any entry and not feel overwhelmed. Now, where I personally wanted to try out the series with the first game to release, something about Suikoden 2's cover really drew me in, and I am so glad I started with this entry, as Suikoden 2 was the game that really turned me into a Suikoden fan. The Suikoden series is known for its amazing writing, deep and gripping war-driven narrative, and an impressive host of characters who come from all different walks of life. The diversity within the Suikoden series from all of its 100 recruitable characters is something that has always blown me away. Each character feels unique throughout all of the 5 mainline games in this series, and you can honestly grow such a deep attachment to each one of the characters throughout. The combat within the Suikoden series of games is something that I've always loved. Having to create different party compositions comprised of characters that specialize in short range, medium range, and long range attacks always made you have to strategize and think about where best to place party members, whether that be in the front row or back row to get the upper hand in battle. The deep and well written, war driven stories of Suikoden is something that always drew me towards the series. I'm a sucker for a well told, mature story, and Suikoden delivers this on every level in each game throughout the series. For me personally, Suikoden 2 will always be my favourite game in the series, and one of my favourite JRPGs of all time. I owe a lot to that game in particular for just making me a fan and introducing me to this amazing JRPG series. So if you haven't already, please give the Suikoden series a try. It's honestly one of the best JRPG series out there and my favourite video game series of all time. Massive thank you once again to my man Ghost for having me take part in this awesome idea for a collaboration video. I can't wait to see everyone else's choices. So until next time, this has been your bruv, the big bruv, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Peace!
What is up, everyone? It's Paul here, aka 90s Handheld Gamer, and when Ghostlink asked me to talk about my favorite video game series of all time, honestly, that was a tough question for me because although I love a wide variety of games, there's really not any series in particular where I've really played through like every single game and I can say I'm a massive fan of the series. But there is easily one game that I can talk about all day, and that game is Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. In my opinion, this game is definitely, without a doubt, one of the greatest turn-based JRPGs of all time. And the first reason for that is because this game has one of the best turn-based combat battle systems that there is in gaming. This game definitely challenges you, and it has such an engaging turn-based battle system. You really have to think about every move that you do, you really have to take advantage of buffs and debuffs. And I really also like the enemy variety, the enemy designs, the character designs in this game. And this game also has a really fun and addictive story going for it. It definitely wants to make you keep playing more so you can see how the story unfolds. And I really just cannot recommend this game enough. This game is definitely worth playing for anyone who has any interest in JRPGs or monster collecting games at all. And that's it for my pick. I really appreciate you having me in this video, Ghost. And if you're into top tier gaming content, Nintendo Switch content, definitely make sure you subscribe to Ghostlink.
Hey guys, Jay from Cold Nights here, and when my good friend Ghostlink asked me what my favorite game of all time was, I had to go with the Dynasty Warriors series. Let's get into it. My journey with the Warriors franchise began when I was about 13. My brother would always pick out these oddball games when my parents let us choose something as a treat. One day, he comes home with this weird samurai game. I was completely stuck on JRPGs and shooters at this point, so as I'm watching him play this game where he's fighting hordes of soldiers at a time, I was like, what is this stupid game, dude? Needless to say, when he got up from the TV, I quickly moved in to experience this stupid game for myself. I was amazed at how fun mowing down thousands of dudes was, and how challenging it became in higher difficulties. I admitted to him I loved it, and he tells me there's one about ancient China too. I was intrigued. I got my hands on Dynasty Warriors 4 or 5, I can't even remember which at this point, and I was hooked. I loved the gameplay, but I obsessively researched the history of the Yellow Turban Rebellion, the Tyrant Dong Zhuo, the Romeo and Juliet love story of Lu Bu and Dao Chan. From that point on, I never looked back. Every numbered title, the spin-offs, the crossovers, the portable titles, even Japanese imports, I own them all now. The cast of characters in each game is huge. By the time we got to my two favorites in the mainline series, 7 and 8, we have upwards of 70 playable characters, each with a rich story drawn from either historical record or the historical fiction of Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Here we see Wang Yi in combat, one of my absolute favorites. A cold, calculating woman hell-bent on vengeance for her husband's death. She will hunt her nemesis Ma Chao till the end of the earth. If you've never played a Warriors game, the feeling of crushing so many enemies is intoxicating. Using the various Muso and Spirit attacks, special moves, and combination attacks is incredible. It may seem repetitive, but in the heat of combat, say on the highest difficulty, it can be mind-altering. There are also so many incredible crossovers with other properties, and many of these have numerous installments or sequels. Koei also inspired Bandai Namco to make a slew of their own incredible Muso-type games. Here are just a few of the incredible spin-offs Koei has made. Samurai Warriors, Spirit of Sanada, the Warriors Orochi series, Warriors All-Stars, Arslan's The Warrior of Legends, Berserk and the Band of the Hawk, One Piece Pirate Warriors, Dragon Quest Heroes, Dynasty Warriors Gundam, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. All that being said, the Dynasty Warriors franchise is absolutely my favorite of all time. Thanks for having me on, Ghost. Until next time.
Hey everyone, what up? Mad Kaiser here, and thank you Ghostlink for allowing me to be in your collab. It was an absolute pleasure. Now, when it comes to my favorite video game series, one that is near and dear to my heart would of course have to be the Tales series. Now, the Tales series is a long-running JRPG series being made by Bandai Namco, and it's been over nearly 30 years of games, a lot of them being action RPGs with a sense of having like anime-like characters and tropes, but still having just some wonderful stories and amazing characters, as well as even some solid, wonderful music from Motoi Sakuraba. All of these entries have stood out to me personally. Things like Tales of Vesperia, Tales of Destiny DC, Tales of Exilia 2, Tales of Berseria, and recently Tales of Arise. All of them just having just amazing, wonderful action RPG combat while still having just some amazing charm from both the party interactions and just overall even having some very nice, pleasing visuals, especially with both Tales of Arise and Tales of Vesperia just having just some truly immaculate visual styles all around. Not only that, but there's lots of amazing charm that separates itself from other RPGs. Most notably would have to be the skit system, a system where in real time characters were able to interact in funny situations, as well as even show on how characters even develop throughout these skits. These skits are just absolutely amazing, especially on how they are portrayed in either a 2D or sort of 3D comic-like format, and it just never gets so old. Like going through each and one of them truly gets you a feel that these games are all about having fun and a grand sense of adventure, something that other games like Final Fantasy, Xenoblade, Dragon Quest and whatnot all do pretty well, but Tales, in my opinion, just knits it so hard. The only thing I do wish that later down the line is that the past Tales games do eventually reach a more modern system so that people can play them, because right now all we have is of course Vesperia, Symphonia, Zestiria, Berseria and Arise. So hopefully Namco please port the other Tales games as soon as possible so that more people can experience, or what I can experience to show is overall just an amazing series. Thank you Ghostlink for having me, and I'm happy to see what the other people have as their picks. So until then, Mad Kaiser out.
Welcome to Gaming with Creshworth. This is not Creshworth headquarters. This is outside, and I'm down by the river, feeling pretty thankful that Ghostlink has invited me to be a part of this awesome collab and for bringing together all these amazing YouTubers and creators. But yeah, I think I've touched enough grass and I've just got the perfect thing, a scroll of Misty Step to go right back to Creshworth headquarters. Whoosh! Whoa! I'll never quite get used to that. Favorite series and video game of all time? Series-wise, it's always been The Legend of Zelda. But when it comes to games, and which one's taken my #1 spot, something's changed. A cultural juggernaut moved in, Baldur's Gate 3. This CRPG that was released to universal acclaim shook up RPG gaming for me harder than a nautiloid crash on the beach. Before, during, and after my 110-hour first playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3, I haven't stopped talking about it. This was hands down the most personal journey I've ever been on in a video game. Larian Studios took D&D 5th edition rule set and created a high fantasy masterpiece. I'm still sad and a little lost that my adventure has come to an end. I'll never have another first time playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3. Like tabletop D&D, it's refreshing, shocking, surprising, and hilarious to have almost every action in and out of turn-based combat hang on the outcome of an in-game D20. I never knew how anything would turn out, and that was refreshing. You just roll with it. I've played games of choice, but this is unreal. Add in fully realized characters that no matter who you are, you can see yourself in one of them. They're witty, charming, and unfailingly human. Ghostlink, thank you for having me on your channel, and please subscribe to all these wonderful creators. Then, afterwards, you gotta come by the headquarters and see what comes next. Alright, catch you later.
And last but not least is my personal favorite video game series of all time. And if anyone knows me, they know that yes, Kingdom Hearts is hands down my favorite video game series of all time. I will never forget it. It was back in 2003 where I first experienced Kingdom Hearts. So I myself am a 90s kid, and I grew up with all the 90s Disney movie classics. And not only was I already a huge fan of JRPGs, but I also loved Disney. So to get the best of both worlds in one game was a dream come true. And this game became something so much more than I could have ever anticipated. Not only was it that Square Enix and Disney were involved in this, so you can relive all those Disney movie classics in a video game form, and a whole new Square Enix game, which was once Squaresoft, but it delivered a whole new video game experience. The moral values, the bond between Sora and all his friends, all the different characters he meets along the way. This is a beautiful experience unlike anything else I've ever played in any video game. It's now 2024, and still, I have never had a game affect me as much as Kingdom Hearts has. And of course, I will say that there is a vast amount of games in the Kingdom Hearts series. Even the tacky ones that a lot of people didn't really enjoy, I definitely enjoyed them for the story. I have another video on my channel where I go in depth on why I still love Kingdom Hearts, which I definitely do recommend checking out if you're also a fan of Kingdom Hearts. But yeah, this is the one game that changed my life as a gamer. It showed me on how far a video game can go and how far a video game can take you. When you're sitting there in your bedroom, you're experiencing this whole other world and you're living this whole other life. And you're truly invested into it. It's truly a beautiful thing. I think the main reason why I love Kingdom Hearts is for all the heartfelt moments. You get so attached to all the characters, which in turn makes you really invested into that world. If you've never played Kingdom Hearts before, it is never too late to dive into it. Go give it a shot. Alright, well there you have it. There's the top 10 best video games of all time. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end, and thank you so much again to all the content creators that took part in this video. Everyone that I asked to be a part of this video, I truly love and I truly respect, and I love all their content. I'm going to leave a link in the description below to all their channels, which I highly recommend checking out. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. And definitely go check out everyone else's channels in the description below. All these creators have great content that I know you guys will definitely enjoy. With that being said, hope you guys have an amazing day, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Happy gaming, and God bless. Peace.